Bill, congrats. Your first pick of the 2025 draft.
Yes.
What made Caleb the correct choice for the Utah Mammoth this year?
Well, he's someone that, when you sit in that room and you listen to the scouts, and you listen to their passion about players, he was a pretty consistent passion for the scouts from the midterms all the way through. He was a big deal in that room the whole time. We just never thought we'd get to him, and we were blessed or get lucky, I guess, to get the 4th overall pick, and then you wonder if he's going to be there. So we got to know him, and as a centerman, you win by building through the middle of the ice. That's one of the keys, and we had a chance to draft him, and he's got a little bit of everything that we want. He's got the skill, he's got the high hockey IQ, and he's someone that led his team down the stretch to a championship as a 17-year-old. That's hard to do. So he's got all the great components we look for in a player, and he really fits our identity for the Mammoth.
Hey, Bill. Caleb mentioned that he got to come out to Salt Lake before the draft visit. Yes. What did that mean to you guys, and what did you learn? What did he learn then?
Well, I just like sometimes to sit with the player and get to feel a little bit of their presence and who they are, and he's a great kid. We got to spend some time with him out here on his way out to LA, and he came to see us and have a little bit of dinner and get to know him even better. And I think it's when you spend time with him, you realize, there's two things. The player is a great player, but the person's also a great person, and we're fortunate. We spend a lot of time. That's a valuable pick for us. So to be able to sit and spend some extra time with him and get to know him, that means a lot. And I think he's a very confident young man. So getting to know him only enhanced the fact that we were going to take him.
Was it important to get a center, or was this just strictly best player available, or a little bit of both?
It's really best player available, but it's really nice that we get a guy that's projected in the top 2 lines. And then you heard me during the course, you sweat behind the scenes. It's one of those things, and been doing it for 20 some odd years, where you get to know the list, and it comes in and out of your body, and you do more video, and you go home and you have video parties with the scouts. They come in and you watch and you do all this stuff, and then you keep battling about the list, and then it sits with you for a while, and you get comfortable with that, and then the next emotion is you get really excited the fact that you're going to have an opportunity to add this young man to the lineup if he's available, which he was.
Playoff MVP in the juniors with 30 points. What do you like about that?
Well, we like players that play in the big moments. As I've always said, and you'll hear me say, you don't teach a baby shark how to bite. They know how to bite. And he's got a little winning pedigree in him, and he's had that for a long time. And, it's not often that you see somebody at 17 years old drive their team into that position. You see a lot of kids that are complimentary at that age that help their team win championships, but it's very rare that you're drafting a number 1 center out of Moncton that's 17 years old that was their guy that led their team, and he was an MVP. So
Will he need surgery this summer, and if not, what's kind of the recovery timeline for the wrist injuries?
Yeah, he's fine. There's no surgery at all, so he'll just need some time to recover. I think that drive down the playoffs took a lot out of him, so he just needs some time to recover, and he can continue training and doing what he needs to do.
Will he participate in Dev Camp, or?
We'll let our trainers look at him, and they'll make that progress, but I'm sure at some point he will. Yep.
When it comes to him, he also played with Gabe Smith on Moncton, another draft pick of this organization. How did you talk to Gabe at all about it, and how much do you expect Gabe to kind of be a mentor over this process over this next year?
We did talk to Gabe about that. I mean, our local scout stays in touch with Gabe, and knows the whole Moncton coaching staff and also the management there, and it really helps when you have a player there, and you're always, our development staff had input too, because the simple fact they were going to watch Gabe so much, and here is this young man playing. They knew him well. I think they were all in the hallway high-fiving us, so excited to get him because they had seen him all year because Gabe was there.
Do you have an opinion on the new NCAA rule where CHL players can go there? And if so, would you recommend sending a player like Caleb there?
Well, on a personal note, I think it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in hockey, to be able to play in junior hockey in Canada and then go get an education at Boston College or BU. And my son went through the process of playing in the USHL and then going and be a D1 player. And I always thought, if that was ever available to the Canadian kids, it's a game changer. It helps develop kids longer. Lets them give it a chance that they can be 23, 24. I don't think it's all quite perfect, the system, because there's a lot of kids moving, but it is a great opportunity for a lot of kids to continue their career and play at high levels of hockey, at one of the best levels. So there's a lot of moving pieces where you're concerned about junior hockey, because I don't think it knows where it sits with the kids leaving that early, but it'll all work out in the end, and it'll really benefit the kids.
You were open about maybe trading the pick. Were there a lot of talks back and forth to the final minute, or once Caleb was there, that kind of cleared things up?
It's a great question. You always explore it, right? You're always looking at it. It's very rare in hockey that any of the picks in that range are traded. It's just the way it is, and once you get locked onto your guy, you don't really want to give him up. So we were pretty locked in to the fact that we thought we had a chance to get him, and we were staying with the pick.
Obviously happy to get a center. Where do you see him slotting into this lineup in the next few years in, your dream scenario?
Well, we'll see how he does coming to camp. We'll see where he's at. He reminds me of back in the day when, I was part of drafting, Peter Angelo, and he was really thin when he came in, and every year you'd kind of see him get a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And so, he's got some work to do in that area. He's got to put on some weight, and he's got to become hockey strong at the NHL level. It'll be a great challenge for him in the way that he attacks it. You never know how quick he can get there. Logan Cooley wasn't that far off, after going and played one season of college hockey. So I think it's a year-to-year kind of evaluation, and we'll see how he does in training camp and go from there.
How do you balance the direction of the team trying to make the playoffs this next year, but also having such a deep and highly competitive prospect pool?
Well, as I say, we're buying time. You're buying time to allow the Iginlas and the Boots and the Simashevs and the Cole Baudouins and and obviously our Caleb time to get in there. I think what we've done a good job is signing guys and making our team highly competitive with the Peterkas and the Sergachevs and the Marinos and the trades that we've made. It's been a blessing that we've been able to get them to kind of get us over the hump and push so we can be a playoff team. We're young. And we're going to continue to be young, but that's not an excuse. It's just we're going to be young, and we're going to need to find a way to win at the same time. And I think sometimes we've drafted well, and I love where we are as a culture, and that culture is going to continue to drive us. This is an exciting times for us. I don't know if there's many teams out there that has the prospect pool that we have at the same time as being a pretty darn good NHL team that's trying to make a step to get into the playoffs in the toughest division in hockey, which we love.
Where did you take Caleb to dinner in Utah, and were you worried at all of keeping that undercover?
Oh, when you're in your backyard, it's pretty undercover in Yalecrest. There's not too many people that were videoing over the bushes, so it was pretty secure. Yeah, we brought him in through the garage and got him into the backyard, and yeah.
So your house?
Yes.
Bill, the first time
I didn't cook that meal either.
the first time you get to see the Mammoth logo on the jersey on a draft stage, what are your initial reactions to that?
Tony did an incredible job at bringing it in. He was so natural on the mic. It was just it's awesome to homegrown talent such as him making the first pick, and he's a big fan of ours. So it was kind of great just to kind of see him, because I saw him after the game one time, and he was so obsessed. I think he had Cooley's stick, and he was such a little kid with the stick. He was so happy, and he just loves hockey. So it was awesome to have him in here. He's just a great human being, and so it was the perfect guy to announce the pick. And now I think he's always going to have that special bond with Caleb,
Sorry to harp on dinner, but
yes.
What was for dinner and who cooked it?
Well, we don't cook at our house, but Nomad Pizza was really good. It's just in Yalecrest. It's one of my favorites, so we brought it in for them and the scouts. Yep.
Any more questions? Thanks, Bill.
All right, thank you.